right, let's get right. Let's get right, fam. In here with me, let's get right. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Dilla T. And this is No Filters. Always appreciate you hitting that like button for me. Subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Get you something to eat. Get you something to drink. Get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Woo! Because you see the title all day. Let's get into this here.
Sean Diddy Combs is in court right now for sentencing on 2 transportation for prostitution charges. Prosecutors are pushing for at least 11 years in prison while the defense wants him out by the end of the year.
Lord, we've been in the building.
The judge, Combs says he's been reborn and is asking for a second
Nene Love Savvy TV pulled up in the building.
Courthouse, along with ABC News legal contributor Bernardo Villalona for more. Irina, what's the latest from court?
Well, Diane, I can tell you that the sentencing hearing is now officially underway.
CC in the building, Francie in the building. What we doing, fam?
Entered wearing non-prison clothing. He's wearing dark pants and a light-colored sweater over a button-up, and we're told that he hugged his attorneys as he...
Sean Diddy Combs is in court right now for sentencing on 2 transportation for prostitution charges. Prosecutors are pushing for at least 11 years in prison while the defense wants him out by the end of the year. Now, in a letter to the judge, Combs says he's been reborn and is asking for a second chance. Let's bring in ABC's Rena Roy outside the courthouse, along with ABC News legal contributor Bernardo Villalona for more. Irina, what's the latest from court?
Well, Diane, I can tell you that the sentencing hearing is now officially underway. We are told from our teams inside court that Combs entered wearing non-prison clothing. He's wearing dark pants and a light-colored sweater over a button-up, and we're told that he hugged his attorneys as he walked in, and he gestured to his family, who have really been here since day one, supporting him. And the judge acknowledged that he received a lot of materials ahead of sentencing today, including a letter that Combs wrote to the judge overnight pleading for mercy, and also a video that the defense is hoping to play today showing Combs playing with his children and giving motivational speeches. The defense has also been highlighting a course that Combs taught behind bars to inmates, a business management class, hoping to paint him as a changed man since he has been in jail for the last 14 months here. Combs himself will also address the courtroom as he fights to go home to his family. We're told that several of his children could also speak along with the pastor. And we just got word that a witness who testified under the pseudonym Mia, a former Combs assistant,
Theo Sack on the
building.
building. What's up,
impact
fam?
statement today, with prosecutors saying that she received a bullying letter from the defense. Diane.
Bernardo, how do you handle that when you have no victim impact statements and one who wanted to speak saying she basically backed out because she was scared?
Well, Diane, when it comes to sentencing day is very emotional. It's very impactful for both sides, both the prosecution as well as the defense. And in terms of the prosecution, you have to think, while a physical victim is not going to come forward and speak during these victim impact statements, the government represents the victims. And also take into account that letters were submitted, especially a letter from Cassie Ventura was submitted to the court for consideration by the judge in terms of what is a just sentence in this case.
Bernardo, as Rita said, we are going to hear from Sean Combs himself. He's expected to address the court. What are you watching for there?
So we already got a glimpse of what Sean Combs will be telling the judge, because last night they did submit a 4-page letter in the sense that Sean Combs is admitting to his wrong. He is requesting mercy. He is apologizing for all the hurt he has caused. And he's pleading his case to this judge that he is rehabilitated, that he has learned from his actions, and that he is deterred from committing any criminal conduct and is asking for a second chance. So what Sean Combs is going to do, he's going to wrap his way to the judge and say, give me mercy, I will not commit crime again. And I am apologetic for the hurt and pain that I have caused.
All right, Rena Roy, Bernardo Villalona, thank you both.
Maintaining, fam.
First
Theo.
top story.
Hit that like button, subscribe, we cooking, become a member.
Music Mogul is set to be sentenced this morning for the 2 felony counts he was found guilty of back in July. The hearing is getting underway right now here in New York City. Moments ago, we saw members of his family arrive at the courthouse and walk inside. Ahead of the sentencing, Combs made a last-ditch effort to plead for mercy. Last night, he sent a letter to the judge asking for leniency, begging, in fact, for leniency, and it comes just days after his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, penned her own letter asking the judge to deliver a sentence that reflects her, quote, experience as a victim. Combs' legal team also released a video last night that will play in court. I want to show you a clip of that.
What I want to do with my freedom is, make sure that I can make change. I just got so excited because this is truly a dream come true for me. And I'm happy to say this is our third school we have opened. It's official.
All right, I want to bring in CBS News national correspondent Jerika Duncan, who is joining me live from outside the courthouse. So, Jerika, two things can be true. The Diddy team can poke that video into the record that shows his philanthropic endeavors before he was accused of these crimes, but the accusations and the convictions still stand. The man is more than just one or two things.
That's absolutely correct, Vlad. And that video, it was a different version of Sean Combs that the judge will see, that the court will see, that was entered in as evidence for this sentencing. So we know a lot of letters were sent from victims, people who will be speaking, saying that Combs abused them physically, sexually. You heard from Cassie Ventura in her letter saying that she's concerned about retribution because she spoke out, and others who've expressed a similar sentiment. But as far as Combs is concerned, this was his opportunity to be heard because, we did not hear from him during the trial. We didn't hear from any witnesses on the defense side during the trial. So this was his turn to say, I apologize for what I've done. I'm sincerely saddened by it. He recognized that he caused people hurt. He talked about his children, his 7 children, and saying that 4 of those children lost their mother, Kim Porter, in 2018, and I am their only parent. He talked about being sober for the first time in 25 years and said that he wants to do better and he promised not to ever commit any more crimes. So this was a moment, again, that video showing really he's saying I could be more helpful out in the community than behind bars. His defense team asking for 14 months, also considering time served, so they want him out very soon. Meanwhile, the prosecutors are saying he should be behind bars for at least 11 years. I'm
gonna let you know, Tanya, give me one moment.
So the other news that you have for us, Jerika, is the Combs is facing this new lawsuit from a former stylist. You spoke exclusively with him. What did he tell you?
That's right. So Deontay Nash worked for Combs from 2008 to about 2018, and he was a stylist for Combs and also Cassie Ventura, Combs' ex-girlfriend. So he describes being fearful, he says, of Combs, and saying that he had all of the cards, he had all of the control, and he said that he was physically and sexually and emotionally abused by Combs. We spoke to him on Monday. Los Angeles, take a listen to some of what he described in reference to being strangled, he said, on multiple occasions.
Cassie was shooting a video, I love it. And we went to a restaurant the night before. He just came in with such a bad attitude, so I just left him.
Hold up real quick before we get to the interview. You see what's going on? You and your boy Dealatofficial, my family. You already know what it is. It had to happen. It's gonna happen. Can't stop, won't stop. We'll never stop. Understand what's going on right now. Hit that like button, subscribe, family, become a member today. Bam! $2 raffle for the t-shirts. It's still going on. You get a chance to win. $2 raffle right now when the Cash App pin at the top. The super chat is alive. Understand? Let me know. But this $2 raffle for them t-shirts right there signed by your boy Dealatofficial. You can always check out the No Filter store if you don't win, but you still get a chance to win. $5 for the hoodie raffle. $5 for the hoodie raffle. $5 hoodie raffle. Check out the post. Check out what it is. Understand what's going on. Oh, sponsored by 74 Well. Let's get right. Let's get real. Let's understand. I appreciate family. Let's do real. Let's go.
You know what I mean? And I went outside to smoke a cigarette. I don't know how he found me. My back was turned. The next thing I know, he's coming up to me and grabbing me and choking me and throwing me on the car. Didn't I tell y'all don't need to be going out? I'm like, Jesus Christ, and he's choking me out.
For all the people or questions about why you didn't leave, why you didn't quit or call the police, what stopped you from taking action much sooner?
We were frightened. I was frightened the whole time. I signed up for Bad Boy Entertainment, a record label. I didn't sign up for that kind of treatment. And it will last me for the rest of my life.
So Nash went on to give other examples of what he says he experienced, but it's important to note that Combs' team denies those allegations and called Nash an opportunist who uses his proximity to celebrity to get what he wants. Black?
All right, Drika Duncan from outside of that courthouse, where any moment now we expect that there will be a sentence in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. All eyes on that courtroom, Drika. I know we'll be talking with you throughout the course of the day. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, my friend. More analysis. Let's bring in CBS legal contributor Caroline Polisi. So Caroline, this last-minute letter and video from Combs' team, will that factor in at all into the judge's decision?
Yeah, not so much, Vlad. I mean, look, the sentencing judge has already received these voluminous memoranda from both the prosecution, the defense, and the probation department, which I think sort of gets lost in this discussion sometimes. The probation department issues what they believe are the guidelines that should be applied here, and they've recommended somewhere in the range of 5, 6, 7 years here. We know the prosecution has asked for upwards of 11 years, and then of course the defense would like to see essentially time served, 14 months. He's already served 13 behind bars. But rarely do you see that big of a discrepancy in what the guidelines are. And primarily that's coming down to this argument over whether or not this acquitted conduct, that is conduct that was presented to the jury during the trial of which he was acquitted, whether or not that can be taken into consideration by the judge. And so this video and the letter pretty much are going towards trying to move the judge to get some factors and ideas in there of what type of man Sean Combs was and has the ability to be. I don't think ultimately it will end up moving the needle, but it's certainly quite compelling, and you're seeing more and more of these highly produced sentencing videos at sentencing hearings like this.
The other thing, Caroline, is he's expected to address the court. Of course, we know that he did not testify during his trial. Why speak out now? And in your experience, do you believe that the judge, and I'm asking you to speculate here, but do you believe that the judge will impose the maximum sentence?
Last question first. Definitely not the maximum sentence, because remember, the maximum sentence here is potentially 20 years, 10 years for each of those transportation to engage in prostitution charges. Very rarely, if you look at the sentences for first-time offenders that have gotten similar charges, none of them serve that amount of time. It's typically 2, 3, 4 years, maybe. But, you know, speaking at your sentencing versus speaking at your trial, completely different ball games. At trial, you're defending yourself.
Girl, you can get into the rap.
Judges really like to see acceptance of responsibility. They like to see remorse and really rehabilitation. So it'll be quite different than actually testifying at a trial.
So really quickly, Caroline, before I let you go, when you do show that remorse, when you do show that self-reflection, has the judge already made up their minds as to what the sentence will be, or does that factor into then how they sentence you?
Yeah, typically in my experience, they already have made up their mind, but the reason for that, plea for saying that I have, shown remorse here, they want to get a 2-point reduction in those sentencing guidelines for acceptance of responsibility. It's pretty technical, but that's really what he's going for.
Got it. All right. Caroline Polisi, always with that great legal analysis. We appreciate you as always, friend. Thanks.
Diddy's sentencing is tomorrow, and the way it's looking, man, is not looking good, man. All of Diddy's enemies are coming together to ensure that Diddy get the max. But the question is, will he prevail? I'm not sure you guys are aware, but Diddy initially tried to get out of jail and have his conviction overturned even before the sentencing, but that was quickly denied. Now, Diddy's reason for why he believes his conviction of violating the Mann Act twice needs to be overturned is because Diddy believes that he didn't violate the Mann Act due to the legal definition. The definition of the Mann Act is a federal law making it illegal to transport a person across state or national borders for the purpose of engaging in prostitution, debauchery, or other illegal activities, or to exploit blank in any way, originally passed in 1910 as the White Slave Trafficking Act to address concerns about forced, blank, and human trafficking, the laws are broad. It's for immoral purposes. Now, obviously, you guys know the history. Jack Johnson was the first person convicted of this. I think the law was created because of him to stop his interracial marriage. So the law has a flawed history, to say the least. A lot of people believe that this was a shut and closed case and that this was going to be the charge that Diddy would be found guilty on, because they believe that there was enough evidence. It's pretty clear that Diddy transported male escorts to engage in rendezvous with Cassie and Jane Doe, which is Daffy and Joy, 50 Cent's baby mama. But that's the thing. Diddy was not charged or found guilty for transporting the men across state lines. He wasn't charged for transporting the male gigolos. Diddy was convicted of the Mann Act for transporting Cassie and Jane Doe across state lines. Diddy's perspective is, hold on. Cassie and Jane Doe aren't sex workers. Y'all said they were victims of mine. And I didn't force them to engage in prostitution. They didn't engage in prostitution. The male gigolos did. Not my girlfriends. Those were girls that I was dating. So Diddy believed that when the prosecutors and the judge gave the jurors the instruction sheet, they believed the instructions were off and it was wrong. Because the jurors probably voted on the Mann Act, they believed that Diddy transporting male gigolos is a violation of the Mann Act. But if you look at the jury sheet, it says specifically for Cassie and then for Jane. Why there were two counts. It was one count for Cassie, one count for Jane Doe. And they voted that Diddy trafficking, or Diddy transporting Jane Doe and Cassie across state lines to engage in rendezvous with male gigolos, that's a violation of the Mann Act. And Diddy is arguing it's not.
Throughout the court filing, the mogul's defense team argues his conviction isn't like other Mann Act cases where the DOJ, for example, limits the prosecutions to cases involving sex trafficking minors or defendants who engage in commercial prostitution enterprises as panderers or call girl operations. They wrote, quote, "In other words, only 1% of Mann Act cases we identified involved so-called buyers or johns. That number alone speaks volumes and corroborates the conclusion the DOJ does not seek to incarcerate Mann Act defendants who merely purchase prostitution services." During the trial, we learned through testimony what some of the male escorts or entertainers that were hired do during these freak-offs or hotel nights. And that was through the testimony of Daniel Phillips and Sheree Hayes, aka the Punisher. Diddy's defense argued this is the only case they've identified where prosecutors claim professional consenting adult males were Mann Act victims. Writing, the government now claims that the male escorts were Mr. Combs' victims, but this is apparently the only case in Mann Act history where the government has argued that consenting professional adult male escorts or entertainers who made thousands of dollars were victims. The Mann Act did not originally treat men as victims, and Congress never anticipated such an application of the statute. They argue the time he served has been punishment enough, especially serving time at NBC Brooklyn. His team argued the mogul is routinely subjected to violence, both directed at him and at others.
That got swiftly denied by the judge. However, it hasn't been all the way bad. He received some good news. So one of the victims that the prosecutors listed as one of Diddy's victims is Gina. Gina is the girl that Diddy has been dating on and off now for the last 5 or 6 years. She was supposed to testify at court and she went ghost. She got low. She went out of town, couldn't be found until the trial was over. She wrote a letter to the judge, letting the judge know that she was actually coerced by the prosecutors and she believed that Diddy should be freed tomorrow. This is probably hard to read on your end because it's tiny, but Gina writes to the judge and she says, "Dear Judge Submarinian, I know you're a citizen, Sean Combs, on Friday, and I have been thinking a lot about it. I saw in the press letters were submitted by many concerning the sentencing. No one asked me or told me to write this letter, but I felt my voice should be heard as I was identified as victim 3 in this case. And I understand changes that were brought concerning me, including accusations of act trafficking and prostitution. All right, we can't say the full word due to YouTube guidelines. I cooperated fully with prosecutors. I met with them 3 times, answered 3 questions, and gave them all the information and evidence I had, including pictures, videos, and text messages from my phone. During those meetings, I felt pressured to feel like a victim. I told them I was not, but they insisted that I was, even when I expressed my truth otherwise. I understand they concluded that I had been trafficked and involved in forced prostitution with him or others. That would have been my testimony if I called to the stand. I was subpoenaed and fully prepared to testify and answer all questions truthfully, but I was informed by my lawyers that I would not be called to take the stand. I want to emphasize that I understand the seriousness of this case and the pain others may feel. I cannot speak for anyone but myself. In terms of sentencing, I kindly ask that you consider releasing him back to his family. I understand throughout the process he has been cooperative and respectful, including turning himself in. Throughout this process, he has never once reached out to me or made me feel uncomfortable in any way. I believe he will continue to be compliant with the court's conditions upon release. I understand that accountability is important, and I am not writing this to dismiss the gravity of the charges, nor to criticize anyone. I write to express my perspective as a so-called victim. I write to express how I felt during the investigation of trial and how I feel now waiting to hear the sentence. I felt compelled to share my own perspective honestly. I respectfully ask that you take my words into consideration when making your decision. Thank you for your time and for allowing me to be heard. Again, man, this is one of the down bottom bit, man. Listen, the interview, she did an interview with Tasha K about 3 to 4 years ago. And here's how I know she a down bottom bit. During that interview with Tasha K, she talked about how Diddy whooped her. Diddy gave her a vagina punch combo so vicious, she lost a baby she was pregnant with that Diddy ain't want the baby, so Diddy took it by force. She talked about how Diddy was suffocated, all type of stuff, man. All right? But she went right back to Diddy afterwards. And then when Diddy was dating Young Miami, she was the side chick. So she done held it down for years. She used to bottom bit. And prosecutors actually wanted to call her to testify. She was ordered to testify. And then once she got low and went missing, prosecutors thought, well, it wouldn't be wise to bring her to testify because she would just testify in his favor. And they probably thought, okay, Diddy paid her off, and then stopped requesting for her to come and testify. Now, she wrote some good things here. It was amazing. But I don't think this letter from someone who went low and got missing during court would override the letters from Diddy's quote-unquote victims. Cassie and her parents wrote the judge asking the judge to bury Diddy. Cassie's so cold, dog. Yo, Cassie got $30 million and she still ain't happy. Cassie is the reason why Diddy didn't get a bond after trial to await sentencing from home, even though that was routine and protocol for the Mann Act. No, Cassie wanted Diddy to stay in prison, and she asked for the mask, okay? So Cassie wrote, "Dear Judge Submarine, I have been in a cycle of thoughts and then overthought writing this letter to you. If there is one thing I have learned from this experience, it is that victims and survivors would never be safe." Big, you got 30 M's, man. You somewhere on the island right now, cooling, chilling, sipping mimosa, eating watermelon, man. Wanting that man to starve in prison. Now you cold, Cassie. Although I can hope for justice and accountability, I have come to not trust anything. I hope that your decision considers the truth at hand that the jury failed to see. Oh, now Cassie cold, man. We ain't never met nobody colder than Cassie. Cassie just asked the judge, "Listen, Judge, I know you're supposed to get judged by the jury of your peers, okay? It's your peers is supposed to judge you. And I know if the jury decides what the truth is. So if the jury convicts you of only the Mann Act, then you are guilty of only the Mann Act." Cassie telling the judge, "Hold on, Judge. For me, Judge, that jury was BSing. Forget the jury, bruh. Take into consideration that you know for a fact he trafficked me, he beat me up, he strangled me, he coerced me by force and fraud into what? Who asked the judge? That's illegal, by the way. You can't do that, by the way. The judge has to consider only what Diddy was charged and convicted of. Not the other stuff he was found not guilty. Yo, Cassie's saying, hey, Judge, I know he got found not guilty of these things, but still factor this in when you sentence him. Yo, bro, Cassie cold, man. Cassie says, for 4 days in May, while 9 months pregnant with my son, I testified, oh my God. I testified in front of a packed courtroom about the most traumatic and horrifying chapter in my life. I testified that from age 19, Sean Combs used violence, threats, substances, and control over my career to trap me in over a decade of abuse. He groomed me into performing repeated, man, Cassie, you was dating somebody older than Diddy before Diddy. Your boyfriend was almost 40 when he was 19 before Diddy. Cut it out, bro. All right, Diddy, cut it out, man. I was forced into lingerie and heels.
What?
Listen, man, I'm not trying to minimize any victim's experience. So if I sound overzealous, I apologize for that, okay? But come on, you were forced into lingerie and heels. All right, man. Told exactly how to look and plied with drugs and alcohol so he could control me like a puppet. These events were degrading and disgusting. Every male gigolo that testified said that Cassie was the aggressor. Cassie was the one controlling everything. Cassie was the one asking for more. Cassie was the one asking for multiple men at the same time because she enjoyed it so much. Cassie was the one asking them to. All right, Cassie, yeah, it was like disgusting, okay? And this right here ain't even about Cassie. This is a trend, by the way, okay? When it comes to both men and women. Humans, they do all this homework for years, then they get into a long-term relationship, get a white picket fence of a family, and then start to look back and judge their former self. She probably has brainwashed herself into thinking she's a good, wholesome wife, that she looks back and think, man, all that hoeing I was doing, I couldn't possibly have done that by free will. Right, so then, it continued, okay? So it says, I testified that I learned to read Sean Combs' signals, knowing that when he spoke of free calls, he was demanding them. And that refusing meant punishment, losing my car, my phone, or worse. He controlled every part of my livelihood and threatened to destroy my reputation by leaking tapes. A threat he repeated often, but Diddy was found not guilty of that. When you read it, Diddy was found not guilty of trafficking Cassie by force, fraud, or coercion. So everything she's saying right here, bro, the judge can't even take into consideration. He's not allowed to. Diddy was found not guilty of that. She continued. His power over me eroded my independence and sense of self until I felt I had no choice but to submit. When he believed I had wronged him or was not sufficiently responsive, he also threatened people around me and those close to me, including my family. I regularly worried that displeasing him meant putting my family and friends' safety at risk. I testified how beyond these threats, Sean Combs frequently used violence to get his way. Over the nearly 11 years we were together, Sean Combs would hit me, punch me, stomp on my face, pull my hair, and throw my body to the ground. Now, if you thought she would leave it up to the judge to just interpret what she wants, if you thought she would leave it up to the judge to just, hey, judge, here's my experiences, you give whatever you think is fair. No. Cassie has demands for the judge that she wants for the judge to impose on Diddy. Cassie goes, I still have nightmares and flashbacks on a regular, everyday basis and continue to require psychological care to cope with my past. My worries is that Sean Combs or his associates will come after me and my family is my reality. I have in fact moved my family out of the New York area and am keeping as private and quiet as I possibly can because I am so scared that if he walks free, his actions will be swift retribution towards me and others who spoke up about his abuse at trial. As much progress as I have made in recovering from his abuse, I remain very afraid of what is capable of him and the malice he undoubtedly harbors towards me for having the bravery to tell the truth. His defense attorney claims he is a changed man and he wants to mentor abusers. I know firsthand what real mentorship means. and this disgusts me. Now the bitch saying, man, that a man she hasn't talked to, according to her, in 7 years, she now knows who that man is today, and him mentoring anybody is an insult to her, and the judge should take that into consideration. Damn if you do, damn if you don't, okay? And continues, okay? I know that who he was to me, the manipulator, the aggressor, the abuser, the trafficker, is who he is as a human. He has no interest in changing or becoming better. He would always be the same cruel, power-hungry, manipulative man that he is. When I came out with my allegations in my civil case, he denied it. And then she continues and says, while the jury did not seem to understand or believe that I engaged in free calls because of the force and coercion the defendant used against me, I know that is the truth, and his sentence should reflect the reality of the evidence and my lived experience as a victim. I know the jury did not convict him of trafficking me by force or coercion, but your sentence should reflect as if he did. Bid? Are you out of your mind? Listen, Cassie's so cold that her writing a letter wasn't enough. No. Her writing a letter was not enough. Cassie got her parents to write a letter to the judge, man. Now the parents was even more cruel, even more harsh than Cassie, bruh. They trying to bury this man Diddy, bruh. Cassie's parents write the judge, okay? And Cassie's parents said, listen, judge, okay? Our daughter is dealing with the psychological, emotional, as well as the physical aftermath of the abuse she endured at the hands of the defendant. She will be left to deal with the trauma of his abuse far beyond that measly 27-month sentence with time served as suggested by the defense attorneys. Your Honor, listen, okay? We believe the charges that the defendant was convicted of are not only federal crimes, but they are also severe violations of human self-worth and freedom. Clearly a vile abuse of power coupled with an immense disregard for human life. To sentence lightly in this case that involves such vicious abuses of our daughter's body's safety and dignity is to dismiss her very existence. To sentence lightly would also send a dangerous message. Now, the suggested sentence by Diddy's attorneys is 27 months. They said that 27-month sentence that might be handed down in months instead of years would send a message that such repulsive behavior can happen without meaningful consequences. They said change the 27 months to 27 years.
Yeah, that's right.
Change the 27 months to 27 years. The max the judge can give Diddy is 20 years. Just like Cassie, her parents is asking the judge to violate Diddy's constitutional rights to give Cassie whatever justice they think that Cassie, bruh, 30 million is enough. Diddy being in jail for 3 years, that's enough for the Mann Act. I'm only going off the Mann Act only. All the other stuff about force or coercion or the trafficking, Diddy was found not guilty of, so I don't know what you're saying, okay? It continues. And it says, in closing, we, her parents, urge you to deliver a sentence that appropriately reflects the severity and depravity of the abuse, the breach of trust, and the suffering that our daughter experienced. Now imagine if they would have thought their daughter, right, to have some worth and to not go to the highest bidder, right? Cassie's in a loving relationship. A loving relationship with a boyfriend who cherished her, she was with for years, Ryan Leslie. She left him to go to Diddy because Diddy had the bag. Imagine if you would have taught her self-respect that way. Y'all wouldn't have been here 30 millions up, asking for 27 years in prison for a Mann Act violation, okay? Now they even says, 11 years is the length of time this horrific nightmare lasted. During this time, our daughter was beaten. So they believe that Diddy should also get something, I guess, more severe than 11 years. Listen, man, y'all let me know in the comment section, man. What do y'all think, bro? Y'all think that 27 years or even 11 years is a fair punishment for Diddy? Let me know, man. All right, tomorrow we'll be doing like a live I'll be going live to cover the sentence, so y'all just tap in tomorrow, okay? But if you're still watching, let me know, right? What do you think is an appropriate sentence for Diddy? And if you're still watching, click on this video right here somewhere on my screen to find out how Charlamagne and God just tried to expose Nicki Minaj, but it backfired badly. All right, click on this video right here to find out what I'm talking about. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.
You know what's crazy, fam? You gotta know what's going on
Hey
right now.
guys, I hope all is well.
The biggest thing is that you in here with your boy Dilla T and my family here at No Filters. Let me tell you something what's going on. You know this Diddy sentencing hearing. Let me say that again. This is Diddy Day 1 sentencing hearing. This is the sentencing hearing, meaning he's guilty. And now they want to sentence him and give him the time deserved. Or what we think he do deserve, right? So with that, you got a lot going on in the world. Everybody focused on this situation. But at the same time, the only thing that can't stop, won't stop is Dilla T. Can't stop, won't stop, No Filters. Can't stop, won't stop, my family. You understand? That's a real thing. But the biggest thing with this Diddy situation, fam, if he gets a certain number, that's a wrap. That number that he gets is his life sentencing. Let me say that again for the people in the back. That number he gets, if it's past a certain number, then he get life sentencing. That's life for him. Why? Because of his age. That man in his 60s. You understand me? Because of his age. If they wanted to hand him life, they want to hand him 10 years from now. That man need to not be getting all that if he think that he finna be outside. But that's a lie. You scroll back through them tapes in them courtrooms with them people and them victims talking about what this man done did to them because why? He a billionaire, gazillionaire, gajillionaire. And he feel obligated, thinking he can do what he wants. Just like Trump walking in talking about you got a teen all girl pageant and you just walking in the dressing room. It's a big thing. So I just need everybody to understand what's going on because I wanted y'all to understand tonight was very special for me and very special for my family because it's my daughter's birthday and she just turned 11. And I thank God for another birthday for my daughter that just turned 11. She go by the name of Treasure Roberts. And I wanted y'all to understand that family means so much to me. Because of whether the time wasn't right, or the time wasn't present, or the time wasn't on time, we are still here as family. And that's the blessing in disguise that we have to understand. Regardless of my timing and the lack of it, it was all for great reason. And once again, as I am here with my family, I was with my family, celebrating my family, turning 11 tonight. So we just want to clap it up for my daughter turning 11, Treasure Roberts. Happy birthday, Mom. I love you to death. It's truly a blessing. I thank God for you in your journey. And it's truly a pleasure to be here to keep going with you. You hear me? Hit that like button and subscribe. Become a member. We cooking whether you like it or not.
Welcome back to The Truth Is, where I drop new videos exposing the truth weekly. This is a breaking news episode as we just got confirmation. Diddy has just been sentenced to 50 months in prison for his crimes. Let's get right into it. For the last 2 years, the world has been watching this Diddy situation, and we all have seen how bad it truly got when the trial started. While a lot of things in the trial were kept a mystery, we still were able to see some of the things that Diddy was up to in the industry and what he was doing to upcoming artists in that industry. Diddy was a man with so much power, and by now we've learned that he took advantage of that power every moment he could. Everybody that he could take advantage of, he took advantage of because he knew that he had something they wanted. Most upcoming artists are willing to do anything to make it, and Diddy exploited that, took advantage of that to the fullest degree, made so many upcoming artists do things for him, compromise themselves so that he can give them a small opportunity and use them up until their career was over. Diddy was a true monster in the music industry. And for the longest, it looked like he was going to be a monster unchecked. He was going to be able to do whatever he wanted and no one was going to be able to do anything about it. That was until 2023, where one of his victims finally decided to stand up to him, called them out, sued them, and started the downfall of Diddy. Eventually, a criminal investigation into Diddy commenced, and the Prosecution Act confirmed what many people knew. Diddy was truly a monster. He had victimized so many people and used his immense money and power to make all of his crimes go away. So when the government declared that they were going to be bringing charges against Diddy and he would have to go to trial, most people felt that Diddy was finally going to pay for all of his sins. When the trial began, we saw how it played out, and unfortunately, we started to see that this trial wasn't going to end in the way that it should. And although Diddy was eventually found guilty in that trial, sadly, most of the charges that we all know he committed were dismissed. And he was only charged with 2 smaller charges that wouldn't lead to him facing any real significant time for the crimes he really committed. And now, months after he was found guilty, it was finally revealed that Diddy was only sentenced to 50 months. The judge sentenced Diddy to 50 months with 12 months credit for his time served. He also gave him 5 years of supervised release and just issued a $500,000 fine. From the statement the judge gave after giving him the sentence, it appears that he's claiming to give Diddy a second chance. He was quoted saying, "Being a champion in uplifting Black and brown communities, that's what you set out to do at the beginning of your career decades ago. Your letter said you lost your way, but there's a true path to redemption here. What went wrong and what could be made right?" The judge then told Combs he was counting on him to make the most of his second chance. Out of the 5 charges that Diddy was charged with, he was only found guilty of 2. He was found not guilty of racketeering conspiracy, not guilty of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and another trafficking charge. And he was only found guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution.
Yes, we definitely appreciate it. And we are following some more breaking news. It has been a very busy Friday here as we have this post from the Inner City Press saying that Sean Diddy Combs has just been sentenced to 50 months of incarceration by the judge. That would be minus the 14 months that he's already served. Right now, I do want to head out to our Fox 5 New York team as they do have extensive coverage. Again, TMZ right there saying Diddy sentenced to 4 years in prison.
Decades, literally decades. He was facing a sentence of like life in prison, and now let's see, he's got 14 real months in. That's really going to count for like a year and a half. With the programming that he'll get, he could be in a halfway house in 2 years in 24 months.
Look at the wording that was of interest. You know how the judge was pretty much admonishing him, taking into account that the judge felt that he had not shown any remorse. You know, and that Combs cried on the stand before like that. How effective do you think it was playing a part in this?
My uneducated guess is that the judge knew exactly what he was doing before he walked into that courtroom today, that he let everyone have their speech. Everyone, like, I mean, this went on. Normally these things are an hour and a half. We've been here for 8 hours, right? I was on with Rosanna this morning and Kurt, and I said, it's going to be somewhere, I said, plus or minus 5. So it was on a little bit of the minus 5. 4 years, 2 months. As I said, I think this judge, he said almost exactly what we predicted him to say. I know you've done a lot of good things, but I also need to take the bad things you've done into consideration, and therefore, here's my sentence. The prosecutor asking for 11 years was way beyond the pale. Department of Probation said 7 years, and he undercut them. I will tell you, no matter what they say when they come out here, the defense attorneys, I hope they're not going to get mad at me for saying this. They're going to go and have a great meal tonight. They signed up for a case where a guy was facing life in prison, and now a 50-year-old man will probably get out at 52 to 53 years old, which is 4 years younger than I am. He'll have his whole life ahead of him. He's got tens of millions of dollars in the bank, and hopefully he'll make this horrible situation as productive as possible. He's already started teaching classes.
To me, this all just once again confirms what I've been saying on this channel since the beginning. The judicial system only works for those that are the uninitiated. But those who are initiated, rich, and successful, they are allowed to do whatever they want, and they always get away with it.
Diddy was wealthy, right?
He is wealthy.
He is wealthy.
Yeah.
And they talk about stuff like the Illuminati.
Wow, you wanna go that far?
Yeah, I'm going there. Did you see anything?
Say, bro, my vape ready. I gotta smoke with this. Far now.
We're gonna go a little bit.
I see that. I don't think you're ready for that.
I think you are.
I don't think you are.
No, I'm not. I'm probably not. But we want to go there.
You sure that's what you want?
Yeah, I want to go there.
All right.
So, the Illuminati, is this a real thing?
Yes.
And were you ever introduced to it? Did you?
I would never tell you that. But I would tell you one thing. I told you, success don't come from working hard. What I told you, success comes from being chosen.
Chosen, right?
You didn't say catch me. I went over your head.
Right.
I already told you it was Illuminati.
Okay.
But you gotta have you gotta have supply and demand. You gotta be able to supply what they want. You know, you gotta have it. You gotta have what they want. And your job is to make sure that you keep providing it, or they're gonna do you something.
Right.
This is how Diddy is getting away with it now. And yes, he was sentenced to 50 months, and most likely will only serve 30 months of those. I don't think that's a sufficient punishment for the crimes that Diddy did. Those of us who have been keeping track of all of these accusations made against Diddy.
Hold up. Ooh, Lord, gee, this man just got 4 years, 50 months. Man just got 50 months in prison for the humility and for the outrage, for the disgust, for the man got 50 months in prison. Now, just like Fam said, gatekeeper, okay? You would expect that. So to me, it was like, okay, well, we chose you this time to be a distraction. And now we're gonna release you in 4 years. And you may get out a year because of programs they create and whatever he think he doing that's great, right? This is America, man. This is the world, man. This is what's going on, man. Diddy about to get out probably in a year. Under a year. Tell me right now in the chat, you think Diddy finna get out in 1 year or he finna get out in 2 years? How long is it gonna take now for Diddy to get out? Tell me right now in the chat. Tell me right now, chat. Tell me right now in the house. Tell me right now, family. How long? Oh no, I'll wait. How long? Huh? No, realistically, fam, how long? The man already been locked up. They just gave him 50 months. How long, how many months will he be serving? Because he's not finna serve that whole 50. That's stupid as hell. No, he not. So let's be real. How many out of the 50 he finna really serve? Because some people think a life without no Diddy is like boring or something. What? This ain't that, boy. I want to know right now how many years is that man coming out right now? I said a year, maybe less, because he's already done time. He's already done all of that. Let's keep going.
We know that Diddy done a lot of dirt while he was in the industry, but somehow they only charged him with 5 things. And then out of those 5 things, 3 of those charges were dropped and he was given the lightest sentence possible. It's because this all was a show. Like I said at the very beginning when this happened, this was Diddy being taught a lesson. Diddy decided to overstep against the true elite, those who own Diageo and all those liquor brand companies that are worth billions of dollars. He thought that he was going to be able to use his influence and power to make them bend to his will. And that didn't work out at all, as Diddy was then made an example of. But it appears that they're giving Diddy a second chance, as that's exactly what the judge is telling us, that they're giving him a second chance. We all know that Diddy is a guilty man. We heard the things he did on that trial. We heard what he had Cassie doing in those hotel rooms. Those were rituals. Those weren't just parties and hookups like he wants to make them seem. Diddy was deeply involved in dark demonic things, and we know the judicial system is set to protect these monsters. They do it every single time. All of the crimes that he's done for the last 30 years while he's been in hip-hop, and all he's gonna have to do is 50 months in prison for all of the demonic things he's done. We should have known this was gonna happen the moment that we saw the trial. The trial protected all the celebrities in Hollywood, didn't name a single person, didn't tell us who was his accomplices, they didn't reveal who was at his freak-off parties, they didn't reveal any of that. They kept all of that a secret, They protected names. This was just a show. That's why they didn't let us see it, because that's all it was. It was just a giant show. They wanted to be able to spin the narrative however they wanted to see fit. Because at the end of the day, they knew that they weren't gonna make Diddy face significant time. This is not a punishment worthy for the crimes that Diddy did. It's the same thing we saw with the Young Thug situation. Young Thug pleaded guilty to violent crimes as well, and they let him go home. Diddy isn't gonna be in prison for that long. And we know once he gets out, he's gonna be right back doing exactly what he was doing before he went in. All of the stuff he's saying right now is theatrics. All of that stuff is nonsense. It shows us how corrupt this system truly is. It does not work fairly. It only works fairly if you are nobody with no money. Then if you were facing the same charges as Diddy, they would have put you under the prison for 30 years. Diddy is initiated, Diddy is a part of their brotherhood. He overstepped, they taught him a lesson, and now they're gonna let him go home in a few years. Go right back to his same position doing exactly what he did. The only good thing that came out of this is that we all now know who Diddy really is, what Diddy's really up to, and what he's been doing in the industry. We know what the freak-offs are now. They're rituals, sadistic, weird rituals that Diddy does using upcoming artists that he takes advantage of. Honestly, this is horrible news. Realistically, I was hoping he would have gotten at least 10, 11 years. And even that, I don't believe is enough. Because when we think about what Diddy really has done while he's been in the industry, none of it even compares. Diddy has been associated with murders. Diddy has been associated with people getting shot in the club. Diddy has been associated with beatings, with manipulation, with all types of crimes. And all he's gonna do is 50 months, which he's already served, according to them, 12 to 15, if I'm not mistaken. This is truly horrible news. And sadly, soon, the diddler is gonna be back out in the free world, so he can victimize more people and ruin more lives. Well, I'm gonna end this one here. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
That's the real thing. Hit that like button, subscribe right now, fam. Let's act like we know what's going on here.
Sean Diddy Combs is in court right now for sentencing on 2 transportation for prostitution.
Yeah, once he get out, he gonna go right back to it. You know what, Theo? Don't get it twisted. Give me 1 second. We still cooking. Hit that like button, double tap.
Now in a letter to the judge, Combs says he's been reborn and is asking for a second chance. Let's bring in ABC's Rena Roy outside the courthouse, along with ABC News legal contributor Bernardo Villalona for more. Rena, what's the latest from court?
Well, Diane, I can tell you that the sentencing hearing is now officially underway. We are told from our teams inside court that Combs entered wearing non-prison clothing. He's wearing dark pants and a light-colored sweater over a button-up. And we're told that he hugged his attorneys as he walked in, and he gestured to his family, who have really been here since day one, supporting him. And the judge acknowledged that he received a lot of materials ahead of sentencing today, including a letter that Combs wrote to the judge overnight pleading for mercy, and also a video that the defense is hoping to play today showing Combs playing with his children and giving motivational speeches. The defense has also been highlighting a course that Combs taught behind bars to inmates, a business management class, hoping to paint him as a changed man since he has been in jail for the last 14 months here. Combs himself will also address the courtroom as he fights to go home to his family. We're told that several of his children could also speak, along with a pastor. And we just got word that a witness who testified under the pseudonym Mia, a former Combs assistant, backed out of giving her victim impact statement today, with prosecutors saying that she received a bullying letter from the defense. Diane.
Bernardo, how do you handle that when you have no victim impact statements and one who wanted to speak saying she basically backed out because she was scared?
Well, Diane, when it comes to sentencing day is very emotional. It's very impactful for both sides, both the prosecution as well as the defense. And in terms of the prosecution, you have to think, while a physical victim is not going to come forward and speak during these victim impact statements, the government represents the victims. And also take into account that letters were submitted, especially a letter from Cassie Ventura was submitted to the court for consideration by the judge in terms of what is a just sentence in this case.
Bernarda, as Rita said, we are going to hear from Sean Combs himself. He's expected to address the court. What are you watching for there?
So we already got a glimpse of what Sean Combs will be telling the judge, because last night they did submit a 4-page letter in the sense that Sean Combs is admitting to his wrong. He is requesting mercy. He is apologizing for all the hurt he has caused. And he's pleading his case to this judge that he is rehabilitated, that he has learned from his actions, and that he is deterred from committing any criminal conduct and is asking for a second chance. So what Sean Combs is going to do, he's going to wrap his way to the judge and say, give me mercy, I will not commit crime again. And I am apologetic for the hurt and pain that I have caused.
All right, Rena Roy, Bernarda Villalona, thank you both.
First to our top story. Any moment now, Sean Diddy Combs could learn his fate. The music mogul is set to be sentenced this morning for the 2 felony counts he was found guilty of back in July. The hearing is getting underway right now here in New York City. Moments ago, we saw members of his family arrive at the courthouse and walk inside. Ahead of the sentencing, Combs made a last-ditch effort to plead for mercy. Last night, he sent a letter to the judge asking for leniency, begging, in fact, for leniency, and it comes just days after his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, penned her own letter asking the judge to deliver a sentence that reflects her, quote, experience as a victim. Combs' legal team also released a video last night that will play in court. I want to show you a clip of that.
What I want to do with my freedom is, make sure that I can make change. I just got so excited because this is truly a dream come true for me. And I'm happy to say this is our 3rd school we have opened. It's official.
All right, I want to bring in CBS News national correspondent Jerika Duncan, who is joining me live from outside the courthouse. So, Jerika, 2 things can be true. The Diddy team can put that video into the record that shows his philanthropic endeavors before he was accused of these crimes, but the accusations and the convictions still stand. The man is more than just 1 or 2 things.
That's absolutely correct, Vlad. And that video, it was a different version of Sean Combs that the judge will see, that the court will see, that was entered in as evidence for this sentencing. So we know a lot of letters were sent from victims, people who will be speaking, saying that Combs abused them physically, sexually. You heard from Cassie Ventura in her letter saying that she's concerned about retribution because she spoke out, and others who've expressed a similar sentiment. But as far as Combs is concerned, this was his opportunity to be heard because, we did not hear from him during the trial. We didn't hear from any witnesses on the defense side during the trial. So this was his turn to say, I apologize for what I've done. I'm sincerely saddened by it. He recognized that he caused people hurt. He talked about his children, his 7 children, and saying that 4 of those children lost their mother, Kim Porter, in 2018, and I am their only parent. He talked about being sober for the first time in 25 years and said that he wants to do better, and he promised not to ever commit any more crimes. So this was a moment, again, that video showing really he's saying I could be more helpful out in the community than behind bars. His defense team asking for 14 months, also considering time served, so they want him out very soon. Meanwhile, the prosecutors are saying he should be behind bars for at least 11 years. About 11 years.
So the other news that you have for us, Jerika, is the Combs is facing this new lawsuit from a former stylist. You spoke exclusively with him. What did he tell you?
That's right. So Deontay Nash worked for Combs from 2008 to about 2018. He was a stylist for Combs and also Cassie Ventura, Combs' ex-girlfriend. So he describes being fearful, he says, of Combs, and saying that he had all of the cards, he had all of the control.
Like, button, subscribe.
And he said that he was physically and sexually and emotionally abused by Combs. We spoke to him on Monday in Los Angeles. Take a listen to some of what he described in reference to being strangled, he said, on multiple occasions.
Cassie was shooting a video, I love it. And we went to like a restaurant the night before. He just came in with such a bad attitude, so I just left the room, you know what I mean? And I went outside to smoke a cigarette. I don't know how he found me. My back was turned. The next thing I know, he's coming up to me and grabbing me and choking me and throwing me on the car. Didn't I tell y'all don't need to be going out? I'm like, Jesus Christ. And he's like choking me out.
For all the people or questions about why you didn't leave, why you didn't quit or call the police, what stopped you from taking action much sooner?
We were frightened. I was frightened the whole time. I signed up for Bad Boy Entertainment, a record label. I didn't sign up for that kind of treatment. And it will last me for the rest of my life.
So Nash went on to give other examples of what he says he experienced, but it's important to note that Combs' team denies those allegations and called Nash an opportunist who uses his proximity to celebrity to get what he wants. Black.
Right, Theo.
All right, Drika Duncan from outside of that courthouse where any moment now we expect that there will be a sentence.
You gotta understand something, man. This is the biggest thing about it. All would not be held accountable. All would not be put into behind bars. All would not be sentenced. All would not speak on all. So we talking about what he gonna do when he come back out. Trust me, Theo, he gonna do a lot more crazy than he was before he went in. And that's because now he know everybody, every eye's on him. And because every eye's on him, he gonna live how he want, but he know how far he can go when he get out. They gonna let that man out, fam. They gonna let Diddy out of jail, man. I'm telling you, boy, about a year, probably less. They gonna let this man out, man. And it's gonna get hell to tail for Cassie now. For Cassie now. This is Diddy, the government, the milice. They all on one mission, knowing this man is a gatekeeper. They said, we gotta move you out the way for a minute, man. You been just who you is, but we're gonna bring you back. But we just need to move you out the way. Cause none are never run. Nothing is never won. You're chosen. Let me say that again. Nothing is never won. You always chosen. So they done chose that man Diddy for that and then exposed his life and put him over there. And now they putting him on the bookshelf. Cause now they doing sentencing. He gotta go through with all of it. But at the end of the day, he ain't gonna get all that time. Man just got 50 months. They gonna cut that in half. He gonna do some classes, some extra curriculums in there. And for you know it, voila, it's time for him to get out. This is the times we living in, fam. These are the times we in right now. Hit that like button, subscribe right now, become a member. We cooking.
In the Sean Diddy Combs trial, all eyes on that courtroom. Drake, I know we'll be talking with you throughout the course of the day. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, my friend. All right, for more analysis, let's bring in CBS legal contributor Caroline Polisi. So Caroline, this last-minute letter and video from...
Matter of fact, let's get something right. Never forget, family, you are here with Dilla T, my family. This is No Filters. This Monday through Friday. This 9 p.m. As always, it's $2 raffles going on. It's Cash App going on. You see a pin at the top. You see the super chat. You get a chance to win Dilla T Classic Thread signed by your boy. You understand? Sent straight to you. And it ain't nothing never than that, but you still gotta like, double tap, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode, and you can share this with the world, fam. You understand? As always, I truly appreciate each and every one of y'all knowing that at 9 o'clock it's me and you. It's you and I. It's family in here. It's us together. Whatever you getting comfortable, getting you something to eat, something to drink, and something to smoke if that's what you do. Because you know, easy at 9 p.m. family, you tuning in with your boy Dilla T. Always be looking out for the post. Always be looking out for the next episode, family. But as always, I truly appreciate you right now tuning in each and every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. I truly appreciate you all and your love. And I truly thank you for taking time out for this time. Be safe, family. Enjoy your evening. Make sure you tell somebody, I got your back. Love.